That's like book math in that sense, isn't it? Like there's girl math and there's like wife math and husband math, and this is book math. Now that I have all the books, I can start it. Hi guys, it's Jo, and today is just going to be a quick little video of all of the books that I bought in June of 2025. I really should have filmed this like a month ago because it may or may not be the 1st of August. I wanted to do a run through of all these books because I bought more books than usual. It's a stack. Look at that. There's 16 books that I bought. And it is more than I normally buy. So I did want to do a quick little run through of them. Of a note though, like you know this, is that when it comes to buying books, I do tend to like hardback over paperback. Ironic, because I bought no hardback. I also will look at like font size and whatnot. If it's a certain type of book, has it been translated? Are there notes on this? Is there any extra content that contributes to the reading experience? I look for those things. But when in doubt, I buy the cover. Like, I like covers. I will comment on a cover more than anything. The cover sells a book to me. I sometimes I feel like simple covers, if they're done right, do a lot more than really intricate, noisy covers. But I also do like covers with detail in them, where it kind of hints at the story without, being noisy and busy and you're having trouble reading the title because there's so much overlay. No, that's a no good. There's a couple of books that I immediately think of, probably why I've never bought them yet, is that sometimes to me, simpler is the better. Now, of all the books I bought, it's a good healthy mixture of classics, and there's some poetry sprinkled in. There's one oddball. I know it's an oddball, but I will explain why it's an appropriate oddball. I'm allowed to buy it, mainly because nobody can tell me no. First book, The Time Machine, H.G. Wells. I have not read it. I've read one H.G. Wells book. So I know he's like considered like the godfather of modern science fiction. It's like the first kind of, this story in particular, it's supposed to be like the first great modern portrayal of time travel. And it kind of helped solidify H.G. Wells as, this big prominent science fiction writer. My problem, I really don't like Penguin Classic covers. I hate this little black bar. If you're going to give me a colorful image, give me all of it. Okay, let me show you how it's done. With the second book, book 2, Jason the Golden Fleece. It has that bar, but it doesn't, like, it gives me more. If you're going to give me a cover, give me a cover. This is not a play or a poetry. It is a dramatic story. The Love Poems by Ovid. There's some epic poems in here. I really wanted to find more love poetry. And this one is one that popped up. Again, it is the Oxford World's Classics. I have a bunch of these because I took a classics class for my bachelor's. So I literally have a stack of these books from Ovid, with the Odyssey, the Iliad, Trojan Women and Other Plays, Birds and Other Plays, I think it's called. There's a lot of them up there. I got Romeo and Juliet, Folger Shakespeare Library. I made sure I got the bigger one, because sometimes when it's like those mass marketed paperbacks, they're so tiny, and I wanted to be able to write in it if I needed to. And with this one, it's awesome because it gives you like notes on the other side. So if you're struggling to understand it, you can reference those. So that's good. This was a book I got. I read it back in high school, and I really don't remember reading it. Besides, like, we did one class discussion on it, but other than that, this is a complete memory black hole for me. Is this book, and that is Candide by Voltaire. And yes, this is a shiny cover. And I do love the little comics. It's very unique. It has like these little caricatures and a map of Candide travels. So I feel like I'm in a much more mature headspace to appreciate this book and hopefully remember it when I read it again. The next book I got, mainly because I'd read part of it, but I really wanted to read it again because I am a firm believer that this author is one of the greatest writing minds to ever live. This book is Paradise Lost by John Milton. I love this cover. There's so many great covers out there, but when I was looking at which edition was I going to buy, I can't pass up the green cover, guys. I just can't. I love the snake. It has the apple. Speaking of a green cover, here's another one. Ulysses, James Joyce. This is one of those covers that it is simple. It gets straight to the point. I have never read Ulysses. I know I need to. I get the premise of it. I have read The Dubliners by James Joyce, and I enjoyed The Dubliners. It was kind of the first work that I had read that was like a fictional anthology of a demographic or a location. I also got New Hampshire by Robert Frost, and this was his 4th poetry collection. And the reason I bought it is New Hampshire is the one that has like some of his most popular works: Fire and Ice, Stopping by the Woods on a Snowy Evening, Nothing Gold Can Stays in here. But I got it because I have another Robert Frost collection, and it has literally the first 3 collections that he's published, and then it has a miscellaneous poetry section, and like half of them are from New Hampshire, and I was like, I might as well get them, because the one poem it doesn't have in that collection is Stopping by the Woods on a Snowy Evening, which is my favorite Robert Frost poem. So I figured I could get it and enjoy it. The next book is my oddball book, but it's not really an oddball book, but it is an oddball book when it comes to the books that I bought, and that is The Enchantress by Michael Scott. This is the final book in his YA fantasy series. And the series is called The Secrets of the Immortal Nicholas Flamel. I have the first 5, and I ordered the 6th. Initially, I think from Amazon, but the cover came damaged. I needed a better cover, a copy of it. And while I was walking around Barnes & Noble, I was like, oh yeah. Sorry, the dogs are barking. All right, back to The Enchantress. So this is the last one. I have all the other ones, and so that's why I bought it, because I saw it and I remembered that I did need to buy it. And now I feel comfortable starting the series, which I probably won't get to this month, but at least I know that when I do start it, I have all of the books. Next book I bought was The Invisible Man by H.G. Wells. So I'm going to hit some H.G. Wells this month. I think August is going to be my science fiction month. This has always been on my list to buy. I do like the cover. There's some really good covers of The Invisible Man. You can kind of get creative with it. But I do enjoy this. I'm going to enjoy that one. The next book is Treasure Island, a classic. I don't think I've read a lot of Robert Louis Stevenson, but I know I need to. This is a classic one. I've always wanted to read it, and I blame the fact that I grew up watching The Page Master, which heavily references Treasure Island, as well as Treasure Planet, which is heavily based on the book. So it is something I need to read. The next book is another classic, A Tale of Two Cities. I read this one freshman year. Yeah. Where did I read A Tale of Two Cities? I think I might have read it for my history class. But I read it for history. Pretty certain I read it for a history class, which is it's a weird class to read Charles Dickens, but it's a good one. I remember enjoying it, so I'm pretty excited to read it again. Oh, look at the cover. Okay, so I love this little reference because it's Notre Dame, and then I'm pretty certain that is the Parliament building in Britain, which is the two cities. Also, this is the signature classics that are released through Barnes and Noble, which is what the Treasure Island is also a signature classic. And I love them because they're like colorful. Some of them are better than others, but it's going to be a good read. The next book, I feel like it's one that a lot of people know the story, but they haven't actually read the book, and that is Phantom of the Opera. This is like gothic romance, and it's one of those that I feel like I will benefit from reading, but I haven't got a chance to. It's this edition I got because I really liked the simplicity of the cover, and it is from the Haunted Library of Horror Classics. Oh, I lied earlier. I did buy one hardcover. I got the complete poems of John Keats. I think I got John Keats because I was trying to convince myself that I needed to read a little bit more love poetry. I feel like we've kind of backed away from love poetry. I think we kind of got it beaten into us that it was like the only type of poetry you need to read. But that's not the case. I've read a lot of John Keats before because I took a British Literature 1 and 2 for my associates. So I'm familiar with some of his works, but it is a really nice addition. The Ultimate Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy. This is all 5 of the stories. Obviously, The Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy was like a huge movie success, but there are 5 stories with it, and then I think a couple of short stories as well that's included. This is just modern science fiction that's kind of silly. I feel like it's going to remind me of when I think of like British humor, I always think of Monty Python, which is like that kind of slapstick, so kind of silly, it's funny humor. The last book that I got is a mammoth. It's massive, and it is The Complete Poetry and Prose of William Blake. I would have to say my all-time favorite poem is The Clod and the Pebble, which is by William Blake. So obviously, William Blake wrote the Songs of Innocence and Experience. I think I will enjoy William Blake. I know that he also did like illustrations, I think, but this is just all his writing work. Well, that is all 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16 books that I bought in June of 2025. I do anticipate on reading several of them in August, because August, as I was making my reading list, is going to be a bit of a science fiction month. On that note, if you want to know what I'm currently reading, I usually will post updates on my Instagram. That's it for today's video. Let me know, guys, if there's any of these books that you have read, or if there's a cover that kind of kicks out to you. Which book of these is your favorite? Which ones you've read? Which ones you haven't read? Which ones are on your TBR list? Until next time, stay happy and healthy. Oh, my bed is still an absolute mess from earlier. I'll get to that later.